January 24th, 2005. This is the day after your season unexpectedly ends. Rather emotional moment for you. The season-ending team meeting, you asked to get up and speak to the team. What do you say?
Yeah, at that point, I just wanted to thank the team because I knew that my career was over. And so I was ready to retire. And I went to the coach. I said, "Coach, can I address the team?" Got up and pretty much just told the guys, thank you for everything that you've done. I appreciate you guys. I couldn't ask for better teammates. You guys laid it all on the line, 110%. I just want to thank you because that this was my last game. And I mean, it was not a dry eye in the house. I mean, everybody was tearing up. I was tearing up. I mean, I was crying. I mean, it was just an emotional time because I felt that that was enough, and that my career had really come to a close. And I had come to the realization that possibly it wasn't in the cards for me to be a champion, but that was okay. And that, I was comfortable with what I had done in my career and the success that I had had, and I had pushed myself all the way to the limit because I wanted to try to win a championship. And I was comfortable with, my place in history at that point. And so.
How challenging was it for you to get to that place personally where you were comfortable with having never won the Super Bowl?
It wasn't. It wasn't a tough. It wasn't like I like rolled over every night, in the bed. I mean, I just felt it was time. As a professional athlete, when it's time, and so I felt it was time. I knew I could probably play, but I thought that it was time, and it probably was a irrational decision because my heart just got cut out the day before. We lost a tough game that we felt we could have won and should have won, and so that was the frustrating part about it. And after that, Coach Cowher told me, "Hey, don't make such a harsh, rash decision right now." He said, "Give it some time. Think about it." And about 2 days later, was it 2 days? Yeah, 2 days later, my first child was born. And it took my mind totally away from football. And I was saying to myself, this is the next chapter of my life in terms of I'm done with football, now I'm moving on to family life. And I got a phone call that week, and that next week actually, for the Super Bowl had been played, and running back had broke his ribs, and that I was the first alternate for the Pro Bowl. So I talked to my wife and asked her, well, what did she think? I told them no on the phone. My daughter was just getting home. My wife said, well, listen, if you are done, this would be a great way to finish your career as opposed to having that bitter taste in your mouth of a loss of an AFC Championship game defeat as the final game of your career. Go out to the Pro Bowl and end on a positive note. And so I decided to go out to the Pro Bowl. What I didn't think about was that our team, which had just finished the regular season 15-1, we had 7 other Pro Bowlers on that team. So I made 8, and all of those players brought some teammates with them. So we had about 15 or 18 players from the team there, and because we had lost in the AFC Championship game, the coaches were the coaches for the Pro Bowl. So now all of a sudden I've got about 20 teammates there, I got the entire coaching staff there, and I got ownership there. So the Rooneys put together a Steelers dinner. And I'll never forget it. We were at this Steelers dinner, and Clark Hagens comes to me and says, man, it's going to be a shame that we're going to win the Super Bowl next year without you in Detroit, your hometown. I said, oh, man, because I had never really thought about the next year and definitely didn't think about where the Super Bowl was. And when he said the Super Bowl is in Detroit next year, I said, oh, man. I'm thinking to myself, I'm going to be a streaker because I'm going to be on the field if they play in the Super Bowl in Detroit. I'm going to find a way to be on that field, you know? And so I'm saying to myself, man, this is something's got to give. And that's the moment I started to think about going back and playing another season. And thankfully, Clark Hagens said that because it really changed my mind and how I felt about playing one more season. And as it turns out,
you won the Super Bowl. Can you imagine, though? I know you said you were at peace with it at that point, you know, potentially ending your career without having won a Super Bowl. Can you imagine if the year after the team won? I don't think you would have been at peace. That would have been rough to handle.
That would have been devastating.
Okay.